what's really important in that meeting is to make sure that your ask is specific, is personal, and it's relevant. Again, it's specific, personal, and relevant. At the end of the day, the goal isn't for you to set the standard of every person that I meet with, I'm going to ask for $25, or every person I meet with, I'm going to ask for $100, because if you consider the mission of Biking for Babies, the mission of Biking for Babies' primary goal is not to fundraise. Primary goal and mission of Biking for Babies is to raise awareness for the work of pregnancy resource centers across the country. And then second to that is to financially support the pregnancy resource centers that we ride for. So it's good just to put things in perspective when it comes to the ask. Before I meet with somebody, I have a general idea of what I'm going to ask, and then I know that when I go into the meeting, I don't want to be going in with any sort of an agenda. So I know that whatever ask is presented is going to be shaped in how the conversation evolves. And so it's definitely something you need to pray about beforehand, and then just be attentive to in how God kind of leads you. What are things that you could ask or invite them to do? One thing that you could invite them to do is to pray and fast for an end to abortion and a transformation of our culture. Another thing that you can do is encourage them to reach out in some form or fashion to their local pregnancy resource center. Another thing that you can do is you can help to provide more of a Christian worldview when it comes to tithing. I don't know what the statistics are, but I'd imagine that probably only about 10 to 15% of Catholics and Christians tithe 10% in a given year. And so that isn't to say that the other 90 or so percent aren't doing anything. But there's opportunity there, and sometimes it's just simple. I'm sorry. Sometimes it's just as simple of an invitation and an ask. It's easy to break it down into time, talent, and treasure. So if in the conversation it seems that most of it's being directed towards one of these three, then go with whichever one the Spirit seems to be leading, and just present them with an opportunity to delve a little bit deeper into an area of interest. And maybe it's that you're encouraging them to strengthen a muscle that they might not have, or it might be a little bit atrophied. Again, at the end of the day, it isn't so much about figuring out a dollar amount and then sticking to it in every conversation that you have. The median household income in the United States is $55,000. So just kind of running with that number, obviously a 10% tithe would be $5,500, and a 1% tithe would be $550. So people are a little bit intimidated to ask for more than $25, $50. Even the consideration of asking for $100 is like, what? And I'm not here to suggest that the minimum amount should be X, Y, or Z, or the maximum amount should be X, Y, or Z. Again, I think it's something that through prayer and discernment, that's where there's opportunity just to consider where God is inviting them to come in at, and what seems to make sense when you present that ask. I mentioned how you hear $500 and your eyes get big and you're like, oh my goodness, I could never ask somebody for $500. So about 50 to 60% of Americans drink coffee on a daily basis, and of the coffee drinkers, they drink about 1.6 cups per day. I did a quick analysis of what that would look like, assuming that once per week they go to a Starbucks or the equivalent, and then the other 6 days a week they're drinking at home. It comes out to, assuming that a cup of coffee is $4, it might be a latte, might be a mocha, whatever. I'm not a coffee drinker. That comes out to roughly $200. And then if you add in the other 6 days of the week where Americans are still typically drinking coffee, assuming that it costs 65 cents per cup, that puts you at roughly about $300. So grand total, no surprise there, is $500. So the average American who drinks coffee, which is 50 to 60% of the population of the United States, they spend $500 just on coffee alone. That's just something to consider when presenting your ask and not getting too overwhelmed by the amount. Thank you very much for listening. Please feel free to email or give me a call if you have any questions. I'm very happy to get in contact with you. I'm super pumped to meet you, get to know you, and I pray for you guys every day in your preparation for the ride and in your encounters and experiences all along the way. God bless you.